So today is Saturday, and there is this thing called Market on the Move, and this is only my second time ever being here. And what it is a nonprofit organization, I believe, that tries to get just a bunch of produce that's about to go to the landfill. And for a $10 donation, you get up to 70 pounds of food. And so I cannot believe how popular this is. Last time I came, I was like maybe the 7th or 8th in line. This time, I think I counted, I'm like car number 26. And it's actually kind of crazy. There are people honking their horns at each other and everything. And I'm just thinking to myself, um, we really should be nicer than this. It's crazy. You know what? Yeah, there's people that are always going to butt in line. It's human nature to just want to get there first. And I'm seeing it. There's multiple cars butting in line and people honking their horns that have been waiting patiently and doing the right thing. But that's why our society is never going to be perfect. Ever. There's always going to be people like that. So these are just some of the items that came from the Market on the Move, and there wasn't that much produce this time. A lot of it was boxed things. Some of it wasn't stuff that was very good for you, but definitely stuff to cure the sweet tooth, and that's what Dan likes. I'm at the Mission Gardens Membrillo or Quince Festival, and hoping to learn some more ideas on plants, raising my garden. I love how, if you notice, they've got the walkways bermed up, and down in here they have swales for all the fruit trees. The other thing to note is if you see how close everything is planted together, citrus and fig, it's to help shade. They got a chiltepine stuck up underneath this citrus tree and pomegranates placed here and there. Nice and tight. So it's literally a food forest. Apricot, pears, and then in the understory, things that can handle partial shade. Tender tree getting started, has its own shade. Okay, the bees are working this. I am definitely gonna need to get a morning glory tree. Check out the really beautiful flowers and all the wasps and pollinators all over this. again, everything is shading everything else. We've got loquats in there, more citrus. Looks like a peach and mulberry. And I'm standing on the higher berm. The swale down low has got lots of mulch. I'm really curious as to what type of okra this is. They are extremely fat. They said they have to pick them small, and that when they get larger and woody, that they make Christmas ornaments out of them. Chiltepine peppers underneath the mesquite trees. Wonder what that is. Oh, it's a type of gourd. Check out the little baby gourds. And this is a pretty cool idea. We got tomatoes vining up alongside the grapevines. They're actually sharing the same location. You kind of like double when you're watering both. Okay, so I got all kinds of tips today on growing things. I've been to Mission Gardens a few times in the past, but never by myself, where I could just sit there and think and focus on the grounds themselves. So the festival today was the Membrillo Festival, also known as the quince. And so I was gifted a quince, and basically you can eat it raw. You could microwave it for 2 minutes or boil it for 5 minutes. All kinds of wonderful things. They were selling empanadas and some Syrian dishes made from quince. All kinds of great things. So I really had a fun time. It was free admission with a suggested $5 donation. And so if you ever get a chance to visit Tucson while this festival is going on, I recommend you take a peek at that. On my way to my final stop, I saw a yard sale, and there's a lot of yard sales today, but I just don't have time. So, but this one had plants, so I pulled in, and I found a nice peach tree for $10, which was really cool. But what was even neater is that the lady that was selling her plants was 94 years old, and a sweetheart, only spoke Spanish, so I had to try my best to have a conversation, but was invited back to get to go see her garden sometime. She said I need to bring a bigger truck so that I could get more plants. So I took one of the side roads to get to my destination, and I saw a sign said weird plants. Weird? Did you say weird plants? So, of course, I did a U-turn real quick and realized it was EcoGrow. And I had never been to EcoGrow before. Oh my gosh, that place is freaking awesome. I found such unique plants that I'm going to do a whole separate video on them. But real quick, this is just like to take some notes. I found Cuban Oregano, which they say like shade. The hibiscus that I got Doesn't want really to be under 40 degrees. Ugh, so can you say greenhouse? 40 degrees, they kind of droop. 20 degrees, they could freeze down to their roots. So there's all kinds of other things that I picked up. I'm so excited to research a bunch of the plants. I found Egyptian spinach and New Zealand spinach, which what I've heard does extremely well here in southern Arizona, and I'm going to give that a try. There's a bunch of other plants, exotic edibles that I found that I will talk about in the next video. But the other one was there's some kind of odd plant from the plantain family, which anybody knows that's very medicinal, and it's really good in a stir fry. Very crunchy, but not a very strong flavor, which I think Dan will really like. So yeah, stay tuned. Okay, so this is the hibiscus that I was talking about. Actually, they're calling it a musk mallow. That right there is the seed pod after it. Isn't that just beautiful? It's so tropical. Because this is one of these spots that's going to become a greenhouse because of the ginger and the turmeric. I decided I'm going to put it in here for a splash of color. Okay, so in the Market on the Move, you notice that there was some gorgeous organic gourmet mushrooms, and so I'm just sauteing some of those up to go with a late lunch because we haven't had lunch yet. And so I figured I will go over really quick the items that I did get at EcoGrow, and then I will do separate videos on those for more information. So one thing that I was introduced to in Florida at my dad's was Malabar spinach, and it grows well out here. And of course, you just eat the young leaves on it. So I picked up Malabar spinach. I do have seeds, but this is so much faster. And this is something that I'm just gonna test it. Let's see, what else did I get here? This is the Egyptian spinach. It's really lanky. So what he suggested doing was these are all seed pods, which I would really love to see the flowers, wouldn't you? I bet the bees would love to see the flowers. But he suggested pinching all of it off and have it, actually, here's the flowers. Oh, they're very dainty and hardly even noticeable. They're a little yellow flower. I wonder what the bees will think about those. So, yeah, I've got to pinch it because of how lanky this is. It really needs to be brought back down. One of the other ones, this is really cool. So this is called garden huckleberry. And there's a berry. So when they turn purple, that's edible. And it's supposed to be really good, and it grows here. So that one I'm going to be trying in the garden. And then I saw these on a YouTube channel. I mentioned them before. This is the New Zealand spinach, and that once you get this started, you pretty much have a year-round supply of greens. And so this is one of them that I'm really excited about, the New Zealand spinach and the Egyptian spinach. And I have seeds to one of them, I can't remember. But there was a homesteader here in southern Arizona that was giving away seeds. I think it's the New Zealand spinach. And he said it's just so prolific that he wanted to share with everybody. So Dwayne, that was something that I had got from Dwayne. And because there was 2 of them left, I bought both of the garden huckleberries. That was a sucker. I can't help it. One of the things that I'm trying to do is figure out ways to stop or decrease the use of sodas and other things that we purchase. You know, we're trying to become more self-sufficient. And so we're doing tea gardens and trying different things for tea. And this right here is a Peruvian mint. it kind of looks like a marigoldy look to it. But one thing that we're going to, it's extremely pungent. So I'm all excited about that. And one thing I do, I try different things, because something I've noticed that, you know, when you try all these different things, there'll be things that all of a sudden that are really work really well, like low water use. You can get away with not caring for it as often as you should, you know, something that thrives with neglect, which is what I do to a lot of my plants. And so that's why I experiment. I'm trying to find what it is, and then I'm going to share with you what is actually working. So this one here, Minutia, anyway, this is the one that I was mentioning is a type of plantain, and that you actually trim it and add it to stir fries, and it's supposed to keep a nice texture, crisp texture, with a very mild and almost non-existent flavor. Kind of, why would you do, you know, but just a little addition. And if it's in the plantain family, it's got to be extremely medicinal, I would think. I don't know. These are all things that I'm going to be looking up and trying to figure out myself. One last thing that I do know about, I had been introduced to it before. In fact, in Florida, when I was down there at one of the big box stores, this was available. And I've been looking for it at our box stores, and I've never seen it. I do have seeds to it. I tried to grow it in spring, and I don't think any of them even popped up. But this is the Cuban Oregano. And so with this, they mentioned to me one of the growing tips is to keep it in the shade. It just wants shade. So those are my finds from EcoGrow that I'm so excited to try, especially these huckleberries. Like, I'll be your huckleberry. But yeah,